Yay.
Hi.
Fantastic. Hi. Boy, if I didn't know what day it was before, now I remember that it's Thursday. Um, okay, so wow, what a wonderful day. First, we want to say thank you for being here and being an inspirational part of our journey and helping us to learn and understand who we are in a different way. This week was a very, very, very powerful week, and um, my power of emotional expression has expanded. So if I cry, it's not necessarily sad, it's just a new expression. Um, what I will say is, I learned, and I want you each to be proud of yourselves and to recognize this as well, that my journey is my own and I have crafted it to be as such. And I didn't follow anyone else's rules. Never really have been very good at that. Um, I'm gonna share some different things. One of the more profound things is I have an intentional process that I use when I'm traveling. Driving is usually how it's applied, and it apply. I don't know if I said it in the plane. I think I trusted that. So, I noticed on my way home from the airport on Monday, I was driving the speed limit. Let's just be honest, is a little bit odd. And I was like, hmm, that's funny. I just want to drive the speed limit. And then I saw to the right that there was a police officer. One of my intentions is that I know if somebody cares how fast I'm driving. And then after a while, I was like, oh, I feel like I can drive as fast as I want now. Um, and I realized that because I had stepped over a threshold and I had literally catapulted myself into this new process. Um, I do yoga, it's part of my Kriya, but it's also something that I do, but it's a different process, right? It's like I spend 40 minutes doing yoga, as well as meditating and doing my Kriya process. And but this trip was a 6 a.m. until 9 or 10 p.m. So somewhere upwards of 14 to 16 hours a day of breaking for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So they fed me 3 times a day, which was also unique. Um, and then doing meditation and yoga and listening to Sadhguru talk for upwards of 16 hours a day. And I was maybe on most days at 4, maybe 5. So, not that far of a stretch, but I noticed um when I came back, I was fine, right? My perception was still working on my way home from the airport. That was fine. But it was about 28 hours um before I detoxed from other people's energy. Because unlike my work trip was the last one, right? I at least slept in my own quarters and had 2 showers a day and like at least an hour or so, maybe two to myself, right? And so what I learned was that letting go of the energetic influence of your environment and the other people is so powerful. So it was learning a new yoga process. It's basically a sun salutation, and then a new breathing kriya, and then a meditation. And what I found today is that once I was in my own environment that is, me, um, and no other than my spirit team, right? That I was able to do the processes more easily. And what occurred to me was given to me was that there was no energetic interference as far as other people around me who were thinking their own thoughts about what the processes were. It was just my own thoughts. It was just my own energy. And I was able to just do it, right? Without I did give myself some rest because my body also, this is important, most of the time, and I talk about this a lot, I do what I want to do when I want to do it, if I want to do it. And I was okay. They woke us up at 5 a.m. with drums. That was kind of okay, right? There was clapping to let you know when break or lunch was over. And pretty much I would go to sleep after whatever the day was done. And that was okay. Um, but what I realized is my body is very used to is something doesn't feel right, we just don't do it, right? So in my natural state, I would not have spent so many hours doing any one particular thing. It did allow me to learn the process, and I am thankful that I did it. I have felt an extreme shift in my energy and my perception over the course of the last week. But what I will say is, I had to have a talk with my body and say, I'm sorry, and please forgive me, and I will allow you to have rest as well. Because the energy when I felt into it was, why are we doing this still? Like we're done, right? Um, and so now I'm back and fine after having a day of rest and getting into the process, because you're also supposed to continue doing this process, and it takes me probably about an hour twice a day. And that's fine. Um, but my body needed to know that I still loved myself. So the takeaway here is, remember who you are. And I was within, they're saying 28 hours, I was fine, right? But the immersion around other people and just um deep immersion with other people, like sleeping in the same room with other people, and then eating in a different room, but with other people, and doing the practices with other people. I did shower alone, so there was that. Um, but yeah, and so then the question was, do you get up early to allow extra time for ensuring um, that the entire process is completed, or do you value sleep? So, on the last day, she said, we're getting up at 4. And I was like, oh, okay. When they asked, this was amusing to Rochelle. Um, they were like, so we're gonna wake you up at 5 with drums. And I think they had already told me that because I had called ahead and asked for a few things so I could be more prepared. And then they're like, who wants to get up early? And I'm like, oh, earlier than 5. No, 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 thank you, right? Anyway, but at that day, it was the last day, and it was really, do you want to have time? Because they usually gave an hour between waking up and starting the processes at 6. And this one started at 5:30. And Rochelle's shower process, it involved also deconstructing your bed and then walking to the shower, taking a shower, coming back, getting your yoga gear, going back into the room. So anyway, the main process here is understanding, first and foremost, who are you? Knowing yourself. And we have lived enough life, excuse me, to know what it is that we like and we don't like. And so, and what we usually say is what it is that we prefer, right? And it was so ingrained in me that I prefer comfort and ease and grace. And yes, I love movement and yoga, but um to a safe point within my body was very clear. And so it was a path of least resistance because part of the program of being able to complete it and go on to other ones is that you complete all of the things and all of the days and such a thing. So anyway, um the main thing that I want to share here is when you are out there and you are in the world at large, and I do, right? It's just that the immersion since summer camp when I was 12 hadn't been that deep. And so, recognize when you need to detox from any environment, right? And letting go of any interference as well as any influence. Um, and part of that for me is I choose to do my process the way that makes sense for me and the way that my higher self is guiding me, not necessarily by any book, right? That's the way that I operate. And so I want to say thank you to all of you for for doing that. The email system in this week there was a bot situation. So that's what happened. So the email that was scheduled, I don't think went out, and my priority was learning these processes, not getting that done. So I apologize, but hopefully you guys have this as part of your calendar and process. So what I will say is to as we continue and we're here to expand our horizons, right? To learn who we are and to be the most authentic version of ourselves that we can in every moment of every day. And so, what we want to say is that discovering who that is and allowing that to emerge isn't necessarily going to be the same in every environment. What I also found interesting is a lot of the people there were Indian. So I was in a minority, which I'm usually not, and I didn't actually notice until the end. Um, really, like it doesn't matter. I didn't care about any of that, but it was interesting, right? And I was myself to those that made the effort to show up and ask questions and things like that. Otherwise, my intention was to be there to learn this process in a way that I'll just use the word forced me to do it and learn it in a way that otherwise in Rochelle's natural process would have probably taken years, right? Because I learned and worked my body, forced my body through doing these things and sitting and doing the alternate nostril breathing and om chanting for 40 minutes at a time, multiple times a day. Um, and what I want to say is, regardless, you're still you, but how it is that you show up in different environments is going to be different. Because this was very obvious, and this wasn't my teachings, right? I don't really want to say that's true. I wasn't the one presenting the teachings in this particular. Oh, did you see that? That was fantastic. Okay. So I wasn't the one. Okay. So there was a designated teacher. I guess I needed to speak in more authenticity. There was a designated teacher that was flown in from the Isha Institute to present the training. And so, obviously, energetically, no matter where I go, there's a counterpart of that, right? Um, but what I found is that I was there to learn to catapult myself. And I could have learned these processes by reading a book, although Sadhguru would say otherwise. Um, I probably could have, right? But it would have been a slower implementation as I do things as I want to do them. Even though this was a choice, I did pay to go there and to experience this. But and when I got done after the end of the first or the last day, there was a follow up on the last day, the day after the last day, I guess technically. They're like, order your Uber now, and so I did. And I was thinking that it was gonna take a couple of hours, and I had plenty of time. And they said 8 minutes, and so I was like, oh. So I was literally like, my normal process involves packing cubes and folding and things. And so this was, it still does. But this was a very unique process. But I was able to do that in the car on the way to the airport. And basically, it was symbolically saying, I came here to learn the process. I didn't come here to make this my process. I didn't come here to make this my place or to leave, even though my energy stamp is there, like I didn't come to make this my home or my space. And so we did it, we're done, and we're leaving. And it was very therapeutic. And I was like, oh, because 8 minutes and I had to still put on my tennis shoes and go to the bathroom for this like 2 hour car ride. Anyway, the main understanding here is as we're doing this energy healing this week is let go of the path that you gave yourself and sticking to the path because I know it is easier for you guys to align with things when I am doing them and demonstrating them. What I demonstrated in this last week was the path of least resistance for the situation that I was in. And but remember that who you are and doing what feels good to you. So part of me leaving when it was done and like getting up early to take a shower and have done like everything, I was like, I mean, I could put face cream on after. There was like an hour and a half or 2 hour session in the morning. They're like, nope, we'll be getting up at 4:30. And I'm like, okay. Um, and so they woke me up at a certain time, whatever that was. I actually slept in a different space in the room to facilitate like more movement so that I would more easily wake up, which was interesting. So it's really understanding that what you want is still important. How you feel is still important. And letting go of doing something to please someone else. And they're showing me like there was a girl who I don't even want to say the words. Anyway, she didn't participate in one of the full days. I think it was the last technical day, maybe. Maybe it was the day before. Um, the only thing that is left over from this trip is I got a couple messages about what was going on with people that I had the thing arose, I was going to share with them because mainly because I had asked like, what's be going on with this person? Right? And so when I do that, I feel like if I have asked for guidance and intuitive inspiration to share that is something that I would encourage someone to do with me. But it was mainly time and what's more important, going to the bathroom, having a snack like an apple or whatever. They want me to share this as well. I was eating 3 times a day. On the first day, brunch was rice for breakfast. It was wonderful. I actually really enjoyed almost all of the food. And I mean, the few things that I didn't were very specific to my like I prefer the red bell peppers and things like that. Um, Otherwise I enjoyed the food. I certainly enjoyed someone cooking for me. Where are the brown knuckles? Um, hmm, hmm. Oh, and somehow I lost 3 pounds eating 3 times a day because I was doing yoga from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And it wasn't like hard and fast. There was Sadhguru videos in the middle, but doing that movement multiple times a day and like learning this Kriya process and just generally, I think part of it was sitting on the floor. Like the only time I sat on a chair other than the toilet, just in all honesty, was when we were eating. So, what it really means is when your body is in a greater state of movement and agility, that your body naturally moves through things and moves through waste. I think there was less protein than usual too, although I don't think that's necessary. So what I want to share is the main clarity here is understanding, let go of the energetic influence around you. And it really is um, all of it. It's not any like particular thing. A lot of it was how other people thought they needed to be doing things. But it's all energetic influence. And so the more that you have the intention, and we're going to do that now, that I release any and all energetic influence in, on, and around my mind, my body, my soul in all ways. I allow me to find my true core frequency of who I am, right? Without the influence of others, without the interests of others, without the words, sentences, and communication energy of others, without the works of others. For sure is grace without the problems of others. And I allow myself to come into a greater energy of grace, resiliency, and triumph within myself. Because I recognize that the energies that I have taken the time to cultivate within myself through our work is finding your true authentic self and what that path forward is. Um, what I also discovered, um, I I believe I healed my peanut allergy, and I don't know if it was originally or what you would call that. I would say it was a frequency thing that I released in order to be able to eat the peanuts of the trip. Well, it was of the pre-trip because I accidentally ordered a spring or picked up a spring roll on my way down and it was fine. However, there was peanut sauce. Anyway, um, and to allow yourself to release the things that you recognize in your life as toxins. So I made dinner last night and it included a vegan sour cream that I purchased from the grocery store and then jazzed up with spices. And um, I noticed it last night when I was going to bed as a temperature thing. And I was like, man. And then I thought about it and realized what it was. And so now I will be making my own sour cream. So I did that today. That was fine. Um, but some of what we're doing here, this very, 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 very deep tantric work, is recognizing when things come up and to remove them from your life if they don't make sense. To be okay with it if you do it. I was like, huh, I was like BioLife sour cream, and I looked at it. There was a word that I didn't know what it meant, and usually I don't eat things like that, but I was like, oh, BioLife vegan sour cream should be fine. So, what they did tell me is that the more that your body comes into complete and utter balance, the less that any of these things show up as toxins, period. But the general belief is to try to not eat any toxins or anything that your body would consider a toxin. Um, we wouldn't consider meat necessarily a toxin. It's that the density of the food and the way that it is prepared and treated doesn't necessarily energetically align with the path that you are on. So allow yourself to be on your own path, to recognize the things that aren't working for you, even if it seems so odd. Like, I asked which sour cream to buy, Um, that was the one I got. I didn't ask the detailed question of what is the scale at a number of 1 to 10? And generally, 5 is a neutral, and we're good down to a 4, but beyond that, probably just don't do it. I just asked which was the best one, right? So sometimes it is the energy of, did you ask? Um, or was it an important enough thing that they basically allowed you to learn it through a pass rather than having the experience? I likely, through some of these experiences that I've had, and you're having some yourself, I'm learning what it is that I do and do not tolerate in my life, in my body, in my mind, in my environment. Um, what I will say is that the power of the alternate nostril breathing and the chanting that we saw in the group around us, um, I stopped having to clear the room after a day and a half of people doing that. At first, I was like, and then I was like, oh, I had less of a taking my time of whatever time I had to be doing that and just, eating and going to the bathroom is basically what that time was spent doing. Um, there was some chatting, but it was like 40, 45 minutes for meals, which by the time you go to the bathroom and then eat and then, um, yeah. So anyway, in general, I want you to understand the energy we're correcting within you is that I was doing something for a little bit of time, and I recognized it in my leg first and then in my shoulder, that over time, my body just basically shut down and said nope. Because my programming was, they're fine now. We're back in a state of energetic flow and love within ourselves. But to recognize that during that time, where generally aligning with me will help you to be in a state of just being in a state of love with yourself and your environment and your flow. We want to correct any times that you said, well, I just have to do this now. So if you felt that in the last week, let me know, because it was a different flow. I still am really, really, really glad that I went. Um, but I did learn how to prepare myself better in the future for anything like that now that I know. Um, and just to be aware of how my body is likely different, right? And you're working into the same thing. It's like when your body is clearly speaking to you and saying, what I want is healthy food and healthy water and healthy sleep and showers and movement, um, that you allow those things because that really is the path of least resistance. Now, what I did was slightly modify the process once I got to the point of realizing, not just doing it, but like, okay, Rochelle, what do you normally do? Right? So I was like feeling into what it is that my body was saying, and I was like, oh, they're a little mad at me. And then I was able to correct it. My body is in love with me now. I gotta clear those words. But it was like being able to stay on sequence and do the process that I was just learning while talking to my body. It was like, I can do all sorts of things, but to do something really well, there's usually some time spent in contemplation with that. So I want to say we release all elements of energetic flow that were out of alignment. Mm, yes. We release all elements of energetic injunctions in all ways. We release all energetic intrusions in all ways. And we release all energetic problems that were out there for people that were not necessarily looked at and corrected entirely because we were doing the work on first and foremost ourself and prioritizing ourself over necessarily delivering the messages that I received. Um, and these were just people that I happened to randomly sit by. One was a girl who had a nostril thing, and I was like, "What is that? What is that?" And I needed to tell her um that, and I don't know her name. Um so there's a WhatsApp group, but um yeah, interesting choice. So that eating gluten, if you're going to do it, needs to be organic. And then your body is going to like it better. So let that be something that you're aware of as well, that when it comes to some of these really mass-produced things, and that's where cows and chickens tend to come into play, and the bigger the animal, the bigger the play. Um, that when you eat a more raw, nurtured, organic form that hasn't been modified and mistreated, that your body is going to like it more. Any of these things that are modified, I would encourage you to release from eating altogether. Um, I, I was also mindful of the dairy that they served a couple times, so I did have a remedy with me. Um, it's turpentine. That I was taking because that generally releases the toxin so my body doesn't have a reaction and it's able to, so that's what I did um, this morning or through the night when I realized what was going on. So otherwise, in general, I eat all non-GMO food whenever I'm cognizant of it, and whenever I can buy organic or I have the choice, then I do. And if not, I just be okay with it, right? Like through the airport, I did a little happy dance when I found fruit. So this one is really about remembering who you are, remembering your true desires, right? And remembering to do what you want when you want to do it. Now, there's an element of I wanted to be there, I wanted to learn the process, I wanted to make this powerful step and transition, and I did. But there's a point of also needing to prioritize your body as well. And I will know going forward now what it is that I need to do for each particular process. So I was prepared mentally and physically. Like the yoga, I was fine with. It was actually the sitting. And so, one of the things I called ahead to make sure the store was going to be open. They have an Isha Life store the day before. Technically, it started on a Thursday and I got there on a Wednesday. I called ahead to make sure the store would be open at some point so I could get a backrest and a yoga mat and not have to take them with me. And I was asking myself, I'm like, do I really need a backrest? She's like, because I think it was like $50 or something. And a yoga mat, she's like, yes to both, and that's all you really need. And I was like, okay. And then as we're sitting there, it was the first hour. I was like, did I really need the backrest? And about an hour and a half, she's like, yeah, you needed the backrest. It was like you were sitting on the floor for 5 days. Like, we will be investing in that. Yes. So, um, that part of it is follow your intuition in what it is that you're being guided to do. I was so thankful because that store wasn't open again until Saturday. um, even though it was on the same campus, like they only typically open it on Saturday and Sunday, and it was open on the day before the trip because I called ahead and asked for it to be in and or they planned on it. I just said, "Can you please make that available?" And they did. So, energetically here, reminding yourself, I am not my body, but I care for my body, right? I am not my mind, but I care for my mind, right? I am not my circumstances, but I create my own reality. I allow myself to live joyfully, to live freely, to live triumphantly. And gosh darn it, life is better when I do these things. They want me to pull cards now. Okay. So we want to share with you also um, the juxtaposition energy. What's kind of happening right now if you're sensing the energy around. Um, it is basically a giant wall. So, if you've been feeling that, it's a wall of protection, but it is a giant wall, and it has to do with the energy of manifestation that I started about 5 years ago, really coming into fruition now, and the way that that's playing out. So, um, they want me to share it with you, so I will. Okay, so it's departure, true love, and happiness. So I talked about the fork in the road and what's been coming up right now. And right now, it is the energy of choice, right? You can see there's a woman in this card and a man with a suitcase. He's moving on with all his stuff, basically. And it's the energy of choice coming up for different people in your life and whether or not you will allow them to be there or allow them to move on. And that will ultimately determine the amount of love energy you have in and around yourself and your entire life. So allow the people that are slipping out of your life, no matter who they are, to slip out of your life in order for you to have true happiness. I mean, I love all my cards, but this one is particularly fabulous. The happiness card, like she's hugging herself in a lake, a pond, right, surrounded by waterfalls with like what are those? Not water lilies is what we're gonna go with anyway. Um, lotus flowers, water lilies. It's one of the two. So happiness evolves when the situation is when the people are ready to leave your life. Not just people, right? There's a house here. What else? There's train tracks. When energy is ready, when things are ready to leave your life, don't fight against it. Let them go. That is the energy that you feel that and know that I'm so proud of you guys and your intuition, your knowing, your awareness is getting more and more powerful. Your perception is getting more and more powerful, so use it. And so what you're sensing in my energy now is some people who have been either introduced or in my life at one point or another, spiritually or physically, and the need to be in alignment with your subtle energy body as well as your physical body, right? And so it may be for some people, rare as it is, I have two, that their energies that I've been working with in the higher dimensions are more evolved than their physical self. I encourage them to evolve their physical selves, but what you're experiencing right now, what you're sensing, if you are, is a wall to, if you've chosen to leave my life in a physical way, or I have chosen to allow you to leave my life in a physical way, I am also, for my own sanity, um, no longer, at least for this period of time and likely forever, supporting you in a higher dimensional way if you're not able to show up in the 3D in the same way that your energy is, right? Because your energy has to be in a certain alignment to be able to find me. So, this is the love. Are you willing to let go of these things? Are you willing to be your own beacon of love and light? And are you willing to love yourself and witness only loving relationships and let go of everything else that doesn't make sense anymore? because this is the situation, the transition energy, and the outcome. I only read the highest timeline, Jess. So if you're pulling cards on the same thing, ask yourself, am I reading the highest timeline? Because in order for you to line up with the highest timeline, right, you have to be willing to jump. And that was what I did by going on that conference. Now, I don't think that the arm thing that I worked through was really any way here or there. I corrected it. I healed myself by giving myself a day of rest, which you're not supposed to do. And then continuing on with the process, right? Because what's more important to me than being happy and healthy and just feeling good all the time? Not a whole lot, except for my understanding that my being happy helps the earth be in alignment. So that's what we're talking about is when you draw a clarifying card, ask for the clarifying card of what is it? What is the clarifying things that are needing to be let go of? And here we have a woman on a horse and momentum. So it's really how it is that you're racing through life, right? Are you taking the time to enjoy life, to live it, to love it, to experience your emotional existence around life? Oh, and are you taking time to find balance, right? And that was kind of like, for me, the balance was getting up and having taken a shower and being able to start detoxing my energy and have my wonderful time be at the airport instead of the Easter Center and differentiating myself and being back in alignment with who I usually am, which is I do what I want when I want. And that's my first priority, right? Like the energy of balance. We're going to draw one more card. And letting go of the stagnation. So you can do the energy of the light work, you can do the energy work. What the reason that I did the program that I did was it was a yoga program and a meditation program that I knew that I could do in order to get even more movement into my life because the program they actually told me that I needed is Argamangana or something. It is a very intense program. I met a guy the first day. I did a couple additional things and he's like, I did that program. I was like, wow, you did like that was your first one? That's like the most intense one. He's like, yeah, I didn't know. And I was like, oh, I'm doing this one so that like I can eventually do that one. It involves like being on your hands and then like jumping your feet to the side and then back to the middle and then to the side and then to the middle and then behind, like, woo! So, anyway, clearing the energy is how can you do it safely? How can you do it moderately now and work up to it? So I tried to do it on a video on YouTube and then I had a 3 day rest, is what happened with that program. So that's it. They want you to understand that the things that you're letting go of, yes, they're people, their plans, their intentions, their goals, and they are any way that you thought something needed to work out. Um, and letting go of all of the ways that you thought something needed to work out. I had an example of this that I will eventually share, but I am not at this point wanting to add any energy surrounding it because of this particular card and the energy of these people. That's all I want to say about that. Okay. um, we let go of all of the non beneficial energy in our heart, our mind, our body, our soul, our energy body, our aura, our intestines, our liver, our heart, our organs, and heal any and all energy in, on, and around our aura, correcting all energetic flow in all ways. That feels fantastic. So please do um, share how this manifested for you this week. Was there any of that? Is there anything you guys want to share?
Um, okay, so I think I started doing this more like just letting go of material things in the sense like I kind of still think like I needed some of these things and maybe want them, but there just wasn't enough room. Like so that I needed to make space and it's just been on my mind for a long time. So I was dealing with that and that always is very like if you don't like just let it go and I'm good with that and I do have more space in my mind. I think dealing with people this week I was a lot more open to just going with the moment of it all and just seeing where it would go and not having any desire or any interest into like actually how it was going to end up and just like interacting with the people in my life, which weren't many, by the way. I was home this week. I had a pretty quiet week. I wasn't around a lot of people, but anyway, my family and stuff. So I mean, that was it, and it was quiet for me, and that's really all I have. It was not a terrible week though.
Yeah, that letting go of the expectations is
Yes.
one. I release any and all expectations, period, right? For around my life, around my body, around my mind, around my space, around my relationship with other people, around my ascension process and my meditation and my yoga and my sleep and my work and my job and all of that. Ooh, that was good. Um, that's been so powerful um, in the progression of it, releasing expectations. I love it.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just want to share that that I j- just just for Nicole to know because Rochelle already know this. I was sick. I got really, really sick about 2 weeks ago. It was kind of a few days after the moon ceremony, the full moon ceremony. And I guess that allowed for a big transformation because I did ask for it. Um, so till this day, like it allowed me to adjust to a few things, I guess, with I don't know if it feels that it's more ease at some level. Of course, the first few days were not fun, but now I feel like I've adjusted the way I'm eating and even the volume or the quantity that I'm eating. It's definitely not as much as it was before, and I'm also letting go of chicken, which for me was unthinkable at some point, or is something that you just leave for the next day and the next day and the next day. And I'm having no problem with that. As of right now, like I don't miss chicken. I don't crave it. I guess sometimes the mind, sometimes if I read something that I used to eat, I'm like, oh, I'm like, do I really want it? I'm like, no, I'm not missing it. So I'm changing that as of right now.
That's so wonderful. And you feel better?
I still feel a little bit off in a sense that I guess I still feel a little bit nauseous, nothing compared to the level that it was before. Um, but yeah, I am being grateful for the blessings because for me just to think of eating less, it was hard, or sometimes I wouldn't notice, at the moments that I was gonna eat. I just noticed later how much I ate, or sometimes I wouldn't even notice. And now I'm like, okay, that's enough, and then I stopped there. And I'm changing also eating, trying on different foods that maybe I wouldn't allow myself. I've been eating more tofu and eggs and finding different types of protein. Um, yeah, so that I can compensate. Or yeah, I guess just trying a few new things. Like for example, today, like I ordered some guacamole from a place near work. And at first I would never in the past order that. I guess I wasn't a big fan. And I'm like something and you're like, oh, I want that. And and it tasted absolutely delicious, you know.
I love it. Jess, how are you doing with cheese? That's what I'm getting.
I mean, I can't say always, but it's been a few years that I've been lactose intolerant, so I just take a lactose supplement. Yeah.
That's so interesting. That you like. Sorry, I'm very excited for you, Jess. I'm gonna say, but that you got physically ill and it propelled you to like cut things out. It's just amazing how that kind of works. And I want to say to you, I'm with you on the chicken thing. I get it, and I it was so much easier than I thought it was going to be, though. Like you just realize, like you get to a point where you like you can eat it, and you're like, how do I feel about that? I'm like, I don't really know. I don't it doesn't have the same joy that it used to, I'll say. And not that we want to, eradicate joy in any way, but it's just you're going to feel better and it's not that hard. And I'm really proud of you. So that's all I wanted to say.
I would say
Thank you,
that
Nicole. I appreciate those words and I love your support.
You're very welcome.
I mean, if you really think about it, we're all experiencing a similar thing. It's just manifested
Yeah.
in slightly different ways as far as how our bodies are showing us. "Hmm, that's not it."
Yeah, definitely.
Dairy. I can't do dairy.
That's what I was gonna say. So Jessica just has a different approach to that, is what she has going on. Similar to what I did on the trip, I was like, gee, I don't I don't know for sure. Right? And a lot of their stuff I think had ghee in it.
How
So
did the ghee go? I guess okay, because it was in most of their food, right?
I don't that was why I was taking my remedy.
Right, right. Because ghee's in place of butter, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. I've never had an experience with ghee, but I did a clean diet a couple years ago, and a substitute was ghee. So I just decided like I wasn't gonna have anything like butter related, and like so I didn't go the ghee route. But anyhow,
I mean, they say it's supposed to be better, but I would still assume there is a hormonal influence. They're telling me there is in that. And that's really what it is that we're working through, is the hormonal response that the cows have. So, um, I did it as a path of least resistance because some of the stuff, like the thing that I asked for, right? I thought nuts would be okay. Gluten, I choose to usually do at least organic. And it mainly has to do with density a lot of the time. But dairy was the one that I asked for, but I don't know that it was always clearly labeled. Like sometimes it would say nut and dairy free, so I would opt for that option. And then one time I realized that maybe I just wouldn't have any, or that the other option was okay because anyway, I was gonna do nuts, just not dairy. But oh, it's just really paying attention to your body. Because once you've started eating more clean, Nicole can attest to this, your body speaks to you differently, right? I used to eat all of these things. There was never anything I couldn't. For a second, there were tomatoes. Tomatoes are fine now. Tomatoes and I are friends. But other than that, I was pretty fine. It was just personal preference. But as I detoxed my body and started eating more clean, my body noticed a difference in how things felt and reacted differently because I was no longer just at the frequency of those things. And so it was reacting in a completely different way.
I'm definitely like a lot more like I'll use the word cautious even
Hmm.
about things because the things that have occurred have been almost violent. Oh, I shouldn't use that word. But anyway, like yeah, just things don't agree with you after a while. But so I okay, I have a confession. I really wanted a marshmallow and I've like I battled back and forth with this marshmallow for like a longer than necessary. And the marshmallow won.
Mm.
And I ate it. Do you know though? And I enjoyed it. I
Thank
did.
God.
I really did. It was warm in the middle. Um, I had such a headache a couple of hours later. I was like, oh, I couldn't escape it. So it's things like that. It's things like that that you just I mean, it's just interesting how your body can so I've been doing that for 40 plus years and I did like 30 days of not eating anything or juicing and like my whole body's like just different. So that's why it's like really interesting for me. It doesn't take that long to get there.
You did the detox, but you also did very intense energy work at the same time, right? So,
Yeah.
what I have found on the juicing and around the full moon when I do like a juicing thing as well is the energies release quite a bit more quickly, right? It's easier to release things when your body isn't taking all that time to digest food.
Good point. Yeah.
So,
As energy to release other things.
mhm.
Hmm.
So there's like a multifaceted layer to it. Um, so yeah. To be fair, we're all doing really well. We all get a 5-star salute. But I think it's important that we share these things in the lessons so that you don't feel alone in what it is that you're going through and that like I think Jessica probably really appreciated you sharing that part of your experience because like I said it's not that different. It's just DNA and how your bodies are. Um but we're all experiencing our bodies communicating what it is that they want. And the question is, are you listening? So true.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, you are not alone. Are you gonna say
And I
something?
don't know why I'm feeling called to share this. Um, so I haven't exercised in a while. Um, but I'm looking forward to introducing more movement into my routine. And I messaged this dancer that I follow on Instagram. He's a Brazilian dancer. And just to know if he did online classes, because I do like the style that, that he dances in. And and I thought it was really cool the fact that he said that he was already working on a program um for like tutorials that are affordable and it has like step by step like teaching the movement. I'm like and he said like, oh, it's gonna be ready in September. I'm like, oh my God, it made me so happy because most of the people that I like or follow, because found a little bit hard to find an ideal place to dance near me that I really like or that is affordable. And I don't know, it just made me really happy about that. And for some reason I felt called to share that.
That's awesome. And I too, I almost bought a piece of exercise equipment that I didn't get, but I thought I like the dancing and I don't have a place either, so I might do that with you if it's online, just a thought. But I just was gonna get like a stepper and step on the stepper because I don't know, someone was doing it and she made it look really fun. And so I just want you to know I too had the thought to exercise, that's all. And so, I mean, why cut out all the food and not move the body? Moving the body is very, very important. And I miss
Mhm.
moving it more so. And anyway, like I miss it. I miss hula hooping, and I think I might do it tonight.
That would be a good one. And that
It
is
is
what I
fun.
was doing in the last week now, isn't it?
That sounds
Yes.
so fun.
Oh my gosh. My gosh, my gosh. The last thing we want to say is that some of the things that you're going to be asked to let go of may already have been gone and are resurfacing just to make sure you want them to really be gone from your life. Be that cheese or a person or a habit, a behavior, a lesson, that there's a time coming forward of corrections, is what we will say. Um, it's been playing out really, really wildly in my life. Oh, I just got the justice card. And what does the justice card really mean other than a great review, right? And so over time, just be prepared for that, that things are going to be reviewed, meaning whatever you've done and what others have done, that it's resurfacing. And you will be asked if you really want the choice that you made. Figure it out, feel into it, take time, use your cards, feel into what does this feel like? How, the way that I say it is allow whoever needs to show up and to show you who they truly are without judgment until, right? Releasing judgment is good, but once they show you who they are and the energy that you're in, then you decide, does it make sense for any of this to be in my life anymore? And I would say that's the same thing with food, like, oh, all right, well, I tried it and I saw the results. So, no, maybe that one doesn't make any sense, right? That yogurt's or with sour cream. It's probably not in my life anymore, right? And so if they show up and they're in a better way, thank the Lord above that that happened and decide, is that way something, even though it's better, is it something that you would accept? Right? How much have they energetically shifted to be in alignment with where you are now? Because this judgment card is going to be out there for about a year. That's good to know. Hmm. Did you guys notice what was happening when I was saying something when I said that I wasn't leading the practice? Did you guys pick up on that?
There's something. You said you saw something. You said, did you see that? And I didn't have my screen. I wasn't looking at the screen at the time, and I was like, oh man, I missed it. What did you see?
Well, I was saying that I wasn't leading the practice, and then it would like blur out.
Yeah,
Did you see it, Jess?
I did. I didn't connect exactly to what you said at the moment, but I saw it happen, and then it happened again, and then it happened a third time.
I was like, okay, so there was a teacher there presenting the class, and I was there energetically, is the way that I was able to correct that. They were like, so, anyway, sometimes it helps when you're there to experience these things with me because then I don't have to explain it. Anyway, um, so yeah, I will upload the video. I don't know if I uploaded last week because I was leaving the next day. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for being yourselves. Just know that this judgment card, the review of your past actions, is at play. It is a huge environmental energy across the planet. So just be aware of it. It's nothing to be like, just be aware of it, be okay with it, and recognize it within your life as it shows up, whether it be in food or family or friends or people or environments, whatever it is, it's like making the choices and reviewing what you had done. We're calling it the energy of corrections, meaning like when you have done something, to go back and recorrect your choice or make a different choice, respond in a different way. And the idea behind the energy work that we're doing is to make it easier to make a better choice or continue to make a good choice, to really solidify in your atmosphere, in the reality that you're creating for yourself, the choice that you want to have. And that's what's going on for several moons. All right. Is there anything else that you guys want to share?
No, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Be ready and willing to let go of whatever it is that comes up in your life if it isn't in alignment with the life that you truly desire. Thank you.
Amen.
Love you all.
Thank you. Love you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you all. Good night.